minimize that.
Well, first I have to screen share.
Oh yeah, you want to screen share or just have the video catch what's on the display behind you?
Oh,
that way you're in it.
Oh, it doesn't matter.
Okay. So yeah, you can switch here.
Okay. Let's do my browser. All right. So what do you see here? Okay.
And then you just minimize that tab.
Yeah. Should be able to.
Make sure bring that tab back for a second. The one you just minimized. Present to everyone. There you go. All right. Now you can.
Okay. Sweet. Let me just make sure that I can. Good.
So
Okay.
That may not.
That may not broadcast to the Hangout.
Yeah, we'll see that.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Sweet. Good job.
Thank you. Hi, everybody. I am Jason Kennedy. I'm a cloud engineer for Eucalyptus. Thank you all for coming. So today's presentation is from zero to cloud in 30 minutes or less. So who here has heard of Eucalyptus? Okay. Any HPers here? No? Okay. So don't forget, HP was recently acquired Eucalyptus. So let's see, who am I? Like I said, I'm a cloud support engineer. I am an event organizer for the Google Developer Group. It's coming through okay. How does it do? Do you see that?
I don't know. It's behind
I ran social media recently at Seattle Give Camp. I'm a Meetup junkie. I'm a former writer for PC World, Extreme Tech, so I'm a nerd. And what is Eucalyptus? So if you do a Google search on Eucalyptus, of course, the first thing you're going to see is about the tree that is native to Australia, right? But it also just happens to be private cloud infrastructure. So if you've heard of Eucalyptus, about how it's started, grad students got together with some folks from NASA, and they decided, like, let's make cloud software. And Eucalyptus was born. And it was very popular. It was on board. It was going to be the so and left the project, and then we racked. There are Nokia, for instance, has an enormous cloud. There are still some fragments of NASA that do use it. Intel has a large R&D research. Ryan Games, who does League of Legends, uses it. Hello. AppDynamics is a big user. Let's see. So what is a hybrid cloud? So you have the distinction of you have your private clouds, you have your public clouds. Your private clouds are, of course, the private cloud OpenStack implementation. Your public clouds are your AWSs, your managed OpenStacks like Rackspace, Google's Compute Engine, you know. But when you talk about a hybrid cloud, you're talking about a cloud where you can move your workloads from on-premise systems to your public cloud with little or no difficulty. You're supposed to move back and forth, which is difficult in today's environments because you have vendor lock-in, and there aren't that many vendors that have both. So Eucalyptus is a hybrid solution in that, I mean, you're locked into the Amazon AWS infrastructure, but we are an AWS compatible private or hybrid cloud solution. So you can move your workloads from us to, or it's on your hardware, so your own cloud to Amazon. And so when you talk about running cloud, and OpenStack is a good example of this, the the prevailing thoughts is that you need to have a ton of hardware. Like even the most recent triple O implementation is like 8 machines with a ton of RAM, a bunch of cores. Triple O is OpenStack, and that is not actually true for private cloud as far as Eucalyptus is concerned. And I would like to show you why. So there's I was originally going to talk about EucaDev, which is a Eucalyptus cloud that you can run on your laptop. And it would take you an actual fast start installation plus an installation of EucaDev. So what I want to do instead is I'm going to actually show you guys how quickly you can start and run a Eucalyptus cloud from nothing. So I'm sure that this terminal is being shared, so let me switch my screen share. Hi, that's me. I hope it's that one. It is. All right, then. Pardon me for a second, as I'm jumping from a Google Compute Engine jump box to my development network. So if you go to the Eucalyptus site and you say, hey, I want to make a Eucalyptus cloud, you start here and you can run. And now this requires that you run on CentOS or Red Hat. So you can see if can everybody see this? Make this bigger. So this is a CentOS box. It is not running Eucalyptus. It has no Eucalyptus components installed. So Eucalyptus, this fast start uses Chef to do the install. We do Chef, Puppet, Ansible, like whatever. We have Chef cookbooks that will install Eucalyptus. We have Ansible playbooks that will install Eucalyptus. And I believe we have Puppet modules that will also install Eucalyptus. So you name it, and you can run Eucalyptus from it. And I'll jump back to the slides in just a second. So does anyone have any questions thus far? No. Okay. So you're running through the install script, and it's going to ask you for some information, and it's querying your system. So there isn't a whole lot of information that you're going to have to supply it on your own, except for your public IP range, and that's going to be your public addressing space, because each instance in Eucalyptus, it has a private address, and that's the only address that it knows of. And the cluster controller deals with doing that and applying public IP address, an elastic IP on the Amazon side. So I'm going to give this, let's say, 10 addresses from an available IP range. I won't install the additional services for the sake of this. So at this point, we are installing Eucalyptus. And
where is this machine? It's obviously you logged into another.
Yeah, I did.
Where is this box located?
It's physically located in Santa Barbara.
Okay.
It's just a box in our dev network. You can install it. I mean, you can install it anywhere, pretty much. If you have a CentOS or a Red Hat box.
Could I install the CentOS VM?
You may want to do the EucaDev in that sort of environment, unless you can do nested virtualization, in which case you'd be fine. You can install Eucalyptus atop VMware, and it works just fine. So let's see. I'm going to jump back to this and switch back to my slides. That's me. Hello. So we'll let that run. So again, so you can run Eucalyptus anywhere, including in a backpack. So these backpacks had Intel NUCs, and they were running an cloud. They were mobile with battery packs, and they were running a demo there. That's Martin Mikos. Chris is our architect, and that's Vic, our director of QA in the background there with the sunglasses. And you could actually SSH into VMs running on that cloud on those backpacks. So this is the fast start install that we just started. We ran the install. It actually takes between 12 and 16 minutes in the general install. It takes a little bit longer if you install all of the components, like there's an image worker that you install plus a load balancing component. That, in my testing, took about 22 minutes. So just a little bit more information on the install itself. It wants to use static IP addressing, of course, because you don't really want your cloud components to get their IP address changed at the end of a DHCP lease, because you will break things. But it will let you do it if you want to. You need to have public IP address and private IP address spacing in existence in order to get this to work, which is standard for almost any cloud. And then you just have to wait, because as you see, then I would go check. It actually won't show up on the stream, but I'll show you guys the actual install script as it runs for a second. Slowly. So it's actually initializing the Eucalyptus DB right now and running through those processes. So you can actually watch the Eucalyptus components install. Like this just has, of course, the animated copy cut, but you can tell this log and watch Eucalyptus install, but it's completely unmanaged at this point. Okay, so you can go to GitHub, and inside of the Eucalyptus cookbook, let's see, we are running the fast start repo right now, but you can go get eucadev from here. You can actually get the entirety of Eucalyptus as open source. You can get it and you can compile it. You can run it on Ubuntu or whatever it is that you want. We used to support Ubuntu, but we just do CentOS and Red Hat at this point. Let's see. So the cloud in the box stuff, yeah, like I said, it uses Vagrant and Chef to actually run the install. So Eucalyptus and Scale. Now, the fast start implementation, it installs all of the components plus the node controller on one physical system. It's not advisable because that particularly doesn't scale well. And depending on the size of the machine, of course, you only enough instances based on the resources of the machine that you're running on. But a typical enterprise-ready Eucalyptus installation, we have multiple machines running the components. In this example, this is an enterprise customer that is running 160 virtual machines. And I think this was not the top of their scale testing. They were running over 200,000 at last count. So yes, it does scale, is what I'm saying here. So you can download it from eucalyptus.com. You can build it from source, like I said, any way that you like. So let me go back to my install, still going. Okay, so there's actually some downtime while it finishes, 'cause I think it might take up to 15 minutes. So where's the coffee? Yeah, that's a good question. Coffee's downstairs. Eucalyptus stands for, probably not. Actually, no? Okay. So it's elastic utility computing architecture, linking your programs to useful systems. Yeah, to me, it's amazing that they came up with this, because the eucalyptus plant, of course, is big in Santa Barbara, and to be able to make it a relatively, a relative thing, I think is pretty awesome. But you probably won't hear that much about that. So, all right. So that's the end of the slide part of the presentation. I'm actually going to jump back to the Hangout for a second and switch back to my terminal. And we'll actually, give me 1 second. And I'm going to sit on this terminal. Okay, so it's been running for about, we might have another 5 minutes or so to run. So let's see. And no one has no questions. Quiet group. So does anybody have any interest in running Eucalyptus? Anybody using AWS currently?
Yeah.
Is your workload something that you would consider moving on premise?
We probably, have a hybrid. We probably have, a combination of on-prem and off-prem. Like the dev and test environment would be AWS, and production environment would be in the data center. I imagine there'd be, some migration between the two.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I'm here is a colleague who's no longer with the company where I work was trying to get Eucalyptus installed a few years ago, and had all kinds of problems. That kind of was abandoned, so I'd like to revisit what he was doing.
Good. Okay.
And from what you're saying, it sounds like a couple of years ago it was a lot rougher than it is now. So
it absolutely was. It was.
Yeah.
Ease of install and usability were goals, and it's really come a long way in that regard. So what I can show you is, let's see, out of this. So this is an actual Eucalyptus cloud that I should stream to it, I guess, that I installed during testing. So it's running the same exact. This is a finished cloud. So when you have Eucalyptus up and running, when you run the fast start application, once it finishes, it gives you a graphical interface that you can log in and see, or you can take a look at. I'll show you. It's that you can SSH into. Along with a completely running cloud. No, this is it's a Dell, I think it's a 22, it's a rack unit that has about 16 gigs of RAM. I think it's running 8 processors. And you could run 4 of our generalized, our M1 smalls on there. So right out of the box, you can start running your cloud. And you can go to EMI. You see, come on, internet, you don't even want to. So these are prepackaged instances you can run. A couple of CentOS, a Fedora, and Ubuntu. You can actually run another bash script inside of your cloud, and that will run the machine images script that will install HVM images for you. Is that too small? Everybody can see that. And
that's sort of like, would it be like an AMI that you're?
it absolutely is just like an AMI. We call them EMIs, but it's the same exact thing. Instead of an Amazon machine image, it's a eucalyptus machine image, and it is a complete one-stop. And it will download the image. It will install it into your cloud as an HVM image, and you'll be able to use the key that was generated in the fast start install to log into this immediately. So let me check back with. Okay, so. And so we're done. So this took 13 minutes exactly to install. And you can see that here we are. We have a completely running cloud in 13 minutes running on one piece of hardware. It has every component. Oops. And everything's up. I mean, I didn't install, you'll need to install the imaging worker to be able to import your own images. It's one of the options in the fast start install that I said no to, as well as the load balancer I didn't actually install. So that'll add, 5 or 10 minutes to your install time, depending on your download speeds. And we push off from CDN, so it should be fast.
Could you show what the GUI looks like too?
That's a really good question, because I don't think my...
Or maybe that was one of the options that you didn't.
It did install the GUI by default, but I don't think I can get to it from here because it's running in my production environment, and I'm not forwarding. I'm not doing X over SSH on my VPN stuff, so unfortunately that would have been.
Okay.
And I guess this is a shorter presentation than I thought. Maybe I talked too fast.
Well, explain now the concept of how this would interface with AWS.
Sure. So we have API compatibility with many of Amazon's popular APIs. Our newest one that we're working on that's currently in tech preview is VPC, but you can hit all of the standard APIs, the EC2 calls, the S3 calls. You can actually run EC2 commands and S3 commands against Eucalyptus Cloud, and get your data back. Like you can be running your AWS CLI tools locally against a Eucalyptus Cloud, and you can do like S3 CMD and those types of things to interact with our buckets. And so you really have interop between your AWS workloads and your Eucalyptus workloads. And you can take an image that you build on Eucalyptus AMI and vice versa. So you can take your actual images back and forth as well.
What kind of logging would you, at a high level, what kind of logging would you be looking at, just to verify that it was installed correctly?
Oh, okay. So
I'm sure, I guess that's the top level logs that you'd be.
So when it starts, let's see, like we were tailing the, let's see, but once Eucalyptus is up and running in varlogs Eucalyptus, you have a multitude of logs. It starts off running in info mode as far as logging is concerned, which can be changed to, debug or extreme for more verbosity, depending on how you want it. But our logging is you're going to see it's pretty good. It's pretty verbose. I mean, especially some of our errors, we're still working on getting better logging on that are more logical as far as errors are concerned. But in general, our logging is pretty good. I guess if we don't have any other questions, I'm going to give you back a little bit of time because we are done. Okay. Yeah, thanks everybody.